Hello and welcome to Rotted Reviews, and today I'm going to be doing a patron request, but before I get to that, I want to ask of you, nay, plead with you, I'm begging, please go out and vote. Election day is tomorrow, midterm elections. If you live in the United States, please go vote. Apathy is not really a choice, not anymore. This is a very major critical crossroads of an election, and we cannot sit on our hands and just wait for good things to happen. We have to make them happen, and even if there's the slightest sliver of a chance that we can make an impact, we have to take it. Please, for the love of God, vote. Moving on. So today's video is a requester video. So this is the request of patron Catherine, who asked me to watch and review the 2022 film �they/them. And Catherine says of this, although a lot of people have hate for this movie, my wife and I both really enjoyed it, wondering where you'll come down on it. Honestly, this was an interesting one because I did some research and I tried to find generally where a lot of the hate was coming from. Spoiler alert, I really liked it. And despite really liking it, this has a 3.8 on IMDb with a solid 8,400 votes on it. So I mean, that's not just 50 to 100 people with voting skews. That's, well, speaking of voting, but regardless, 3.8 out of 10. And for the life of me, I don't understand where that's coming from. I mean, I can guess, but we'll get to that. And it may not be what you think. Hold on. Watch the video. So �they/them, written and directed by acclaimed screenwriter John Logan as his directorial debut, this movie follows a group of LGBTQ young adults that are sent to a week-long conversion therapy camp. Things start out on an odd foot when we meet up with the camp administration, who shows a respectful and encouraging tone and a promise of non-religious curriculum.
I can't make you straight. I don't want to make you straight. If you're happy the way you are, then more power to you. And I know what you're thinking. You hear the words gay conversion camp and you start to imagine all kinds of homophobic bullshit. Well, that is not what we're about here.
A significant departure from the expectation, which catches a lot of the campers off guard, especially Jordan, played by Theo Germain, who announces themselves as trans and non-binary and is provided, we accept you and we'll work on adapting our facilities response. Even so, the mission of this conversion therapy camp is rooted in establishing the heteronormative lifestyle as the default standard by which these campers should strive for, and over time, the respectful veil gets slowly lifted.
I'm sure the Geneva Convention has some protocol about this.
Well, the next time I'm in Switzerland, I'll ask them. Now start walking.
Which is horror movie fodder enough on its own, but add into it a masked killer that infiltrates the camp and we have ourselves a summer camp slasher. Or do we? Now look, I've been accused of being woke before, and I've been accused of being virtue signaling before, and I might surprise you here because I'm going to state something that you might not be expecting. It can be a very dangerous and facile accusation that one's like or dislike of a particular work of art indicates that person's belief system, and to a large degree, by extension, their character and moral principles. However, reversing that often holds true. So, what do I mean by that? Well, I think it's a dangerous and potentially very unfair accusation to make that if you don't like �they/them, that you are homophobic. However, it's pretty damned likely that if you are homophobic, you're not going to like �they/them. So let's just go ahead and take that option off that table, avoid that argument, and dismiss the people that would bring their own biases into the film that would prevent any fair judgment. And from what I'm seeing, there is a significant portion of the hate coming from this movie from that segment. But another complaint that I'm seeing is it's not a slasher. Which I kind of find ironic that a movie about not putting people into boxes or forcing them to conform to a preconceived notion of how they should be, so many people wind up judging this film based on the boxes of a slasher movie and the preconceived notions of how that should be. Okay, look, granted, I mean, spoiler alert, a little bit here, a lot of the slasher elements that we might be thinking of in terms of Friday the 13th. The gruesome, gory slash-em-ups with practical effects and great kills that happen all throughout the movie as people are picked off one by one. Not really so much present here. We do have a masked killer. It does take place at a summer camp. There are people that are killed, but it's kind of... that's not really the point of this one. They/them didn't really strike me as that much of a slasher, or even that much of a whodunit. The masked killer was a curiosity and a side note to the true horror of the movie, which was the conversion therapy camp itself. How fast would the respect this camp administration portrayed in the beginning lift? To what degree? What were these campers truly in for? And the tense conflict that arose as the situations continued to escalate. I found that these characters in this movie felt rich and complex, which sold the interactions and the story for me. This certainly was not a 3.8 out of 10 in terms of the quality of the writing, in terms of the quality of the dialogue, in terms of the quality of the camera work, the production style. Any of this, I thought was actually a fairly decent movie. You know, one of my favorite slashers of all time takes place outside of the major franchises, and that's 1981's The Burning. And one of the things that I loved most about that movie was the fact that it was actually a damn good summer camp movie, in addition to actually having a masked killer running rampant. I think that you, in a lot of slashers, tend to forget that there should be a good movie outside of the kills, outside of the masked monster running around. And for my money, They/them definitely provides that. There's a lot of nuance and a lot of defying expectations that are happening in this film, and it was a wild ride. Moreover, it did something that I absolutely love, and that's subvert expectations. One of the biggest expectations that I would bring to the table, one of the most obvious things that would happen, is as soon as the campers get off the bus at a gay conversion camp, they would be met with Bible thumping and whip cracking and all sorts of nefarious, terrible things that are right out of the gate with the counselors that are evil incarnate. And that didn't happen. The fact that they were met with respect, the fact that they were met with a gentle attitude of acceptance and, hey, if this isn't your jam, if you're just here because your parents made you, then that's fine. Kick back, get a tan, enjoy your week. But if you want help, in this, heteronormative establishment, that's what we're here for. It's still not a great thing, but the fact that it was presented in a tone of mutual respect and acceptance in its own odd way was disarming. One of the rules that Pixar lives by, for example, is to think about what a character would do and then throw it away. And what else would they do? And throw that one away. And then what else would they do? And by doing that, you establish, getting the obvious things off the table and creating an environment of continual surprise. And in that, you find the depth. And They/them is a great example of a slasher film that manages to rise above the superficial masked killer element and actually bring something to the table that I thought was terrifying. There was a lot of elements in play here that allowed the campers to bond and find strength within themselves and within each other that made everything feel a lot more real. So as the situation was getting more dire, the stakes felt more real, felt bigger, felt more, there was an emotional connection and a resonance to the peril. So this is me basically saying that I do think that this movie is absolutely worth a watch. I enjoyed it immensely. I don't know why I didn't watch it before, but I'm very grateful to Catherine for recommending it to me this time. And I'm happy to provide this review, and I'm happy to not necessarily tell people that they're wrong for disliking it if they, were expecting a slasher, but that's pretty much the group of people that I want to give my time and my energy to, is to kind of take that element of the people that were expecting something else and not quite satisfied with what it wound up delivering. And as far as anybody else that was bringing their own biases to the table and would never have accepted this because it was LGBTQ inclusive and friendly, they're not worth my time, they're not worth my energy, and I'm not even really going to bother on that level. So thank you very much for watching this. If you enjoyed this video, please click like. I have a feeling there's going to be plenty of dislikes, and I could actually use the boost of the positive ratio going on here. So comment, like, Subscribe if you're not already, and click the notification button. I've actually started doing a few video game live streams on the weekends, and if you want to be notified when I kick one of those on, I've been playing Resident Evil 7, click the bell. Click the bell if you haven't already and get notified when I put on a new live stream or a new video. Thank you again for joining me here. I look forward to seeing my next movie review. Remember, next time you want to watch a horror movie, first make sure that it's good